We spoke about the concept of seeing something and doing something. And the interesting part about that message is that two people could see the same thing and act completely differently. I'd like to introduce our next presenter who saw something that we all saw, but what he did was something very different than all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Michoel Barnett.
Good Davach, everyone. It's been such an honor for Bruchi and I to be here this Shabbos with all of such amazing people, with such outstanding stories. I'm really humbled by all the people here in this room. It's also a special significance for me, the Project Inspire Convention. You see, I had the schus of being a close talmid of the Rosh Yeshiva of Noach Reinberg, Zekel Sadik Devracha. And as Yossi mentioned Friday night, the Rosh Yeshiva every year would tell all of us, the Frum community, if we could just get out and reach out, we can turn the tide of assimilation around and change the destiny of the Jewish people. What nachas Rav Noach would have here by seeing all of you. Every sign that I see in the hallway and all the classrooms, his voice cries out to me. I wanted to share with you when the Rosh Yeshiva would see the psukim in Parshas Shmos, when Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Mitzri hitting the Yid, beating up the Yid. And he would say the pasuk, when he got to the pasuk, Vayar ki ein ish v'yaches ha-Mitzri. He would tell all of us, when you see something, you must do something, you must act. The Rosh Yeshiva would pithily say that in the expression, when you can see a problem, you own a problem. You have to take a chrayas to find and execute the solution. Now that idea always reverberated in my mind, but several months ago it really took on different significance. See, the events of October 7th had us all reeling and bombarded us with inspiration and messages and directives on what we could do for Klal Yisrael and the Chayalim. One thing was clear. We all understood that the achdus of the Jewish people was what would save us from all of our enemies. But I'm sure Rav Noach would add that the achdus has to be with our brothers and sisters who are less affiliated, expressing themselves in an authentic Jewish way. And that idea was what inspired me to think of a program called Pray and Say. Pray and Say is a campaign devoted to get non-affiliated Jews to pray for specific soldiers each and every day for 30 days and say an expression of thanks in the merit of those soldiers' safe return and all of the Jewish people. When we embarked on this mission, we thought we'd get hundreds of people with a grassroots effort. But, Baruch Hashem, we launched a website. We're able to get, I'm happy to say, thousands of Jews to participate in Pray and Say. Now, it wasn't all that easy. I had to do a lot of things to take a chrayas for the program. And many were not in my comfort zone, like raising $25,000 within 2 weeks and bridging the cash flow to fund the effort. But as my family will tell you, there was nothing that was going to get in my way. The stakes were too high, and the cause was just too important. You know, by taking on such a thing, and I don't do that every day, but taking on such a thing made me a different person and allowed me to see and act on something else just thereafter. Many of you are familiar, most likely, with the video you're about to see.
All right, so I have a confession, and I think it's going to be true for a lot of Jews out there, and it's a big lesson for you Jew haters, so I suggest you listen, all you anti-Zionists. Growing up, my Jewish identity was a completely secondary part of my life. I never even thought about it, really. You know, my parents had told me stories about what they went through. My mom had to escape Iraq because she was a Jew, and my dad, sadly, most of his family was killed off in the Holocaust, but I never personalized it. It was never something that was super, super real to me. And it was just stories of things that they went through. But then after October 7th, seeing the way the world responded to the attack and the amount of Jew hatred that actually exists kind of woke up my Jewish side, made me reconnect with it fully. And I think people don't realize just how many Jews out there have reconnected with their Jewish identities now. You know, we were disappearing. We were marrying non-Jews had exceptional numbers. Most of us don't follow the religion. I mean, look at me, I'm covered in tats. And now so many of us are activated. You strengthen us when you attack us. We were disappearing. So I have to say thank you to everyone who has reminded all of us Jews what it actually means to be Jewish. Thank you for showing us the true face of anti-Semitism. And thank you for uniting us once again, because I promise you, we're stronger than ever now.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I saw this clip of Ilan, I was struck by his clarity and his depth of his neshama, and I just felt I had to reach out. I had my son Ari get his number. I was able to send him a lengthy text, and in essence, the text said, "You express with clarity what anti-Semitism is all about, what our sages have said it's about for millennium. And you understand the question, why the Jews, so well. But perhaps the question, why be Jewish? More specifically, what's so special about being Jewish that one could die for, is a worthy topic for you and I to discuss." Baruch Hashem, he said, great, let's discuss. So I met Ilan on a Zoom. Epson's live in Boynton Beach, Florida. And we had a discussion of that and many things over an hour. I said to him at the end of the conversation, I so thoroughly enjoyed it, would you like to learn some more? He said, I'd love to. Baruch Hashem, since that time, Ilan and I have gone through the 5 levels of pleasure, the Rosh Yeshiva's view on pleasure, Jewish view of pleasure. He put up a mezuzah the first time in his house. He wanted to lay his grandfather's, Iraqi grandfather's tefillin. We learned through tefillin, shkafos and halachos. And most recently, we learned through the first 4 Mishnayos of Pirkei Avos. And Baruch Hashem, we have a Seder now every single Sunday night. Thank you.
Hey Project Inspire, my name's Ilan. I made a video after October 7th about finding Judaism again. And I think that's so incredibly important right now. And I have to give a special thank you to Mitch. Mitch reached out to me after I made that video and started teaching me about Judaism, and it's opened up an entire world for me. It's been really, really special. And I think that's the point behind all of this, is that with a little effort, just reaching out to a stranger, reaching out to someone you know who's a Jew, who might not be into what you're into right now, can actually change their entire world, can actually open them up to Judaism. And so I think that's incredibly important right now, because so many of us Jews are being taught to self-censor, being taught to be ashamed, being taught to hide, and you guys are out there doing the exact opposite. You're standing strong for what you believe in, and you're teaching other Jews that it's okay to speak up too. And I think that's just incredible.